Okay. Stream URL. Copy. That is not a real thing. Reload. Okay. Here we go. Just gonna link on Instagram. Link stream URL. Mother F. Copy. That is not a real thing. Reload. Okay. Just gonna link on Instagram. Link stream URL. Yo, check. Check. I've never done this before. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm trying to post it on Instagram. And not having a massive amount of luck. Okay. Instagram. I can hear it twice. Why can I hear it twice? Yo, check. Check. Okay, trying to get this set up. I would like to post it on Instagram, and I'm apparently technologically inept at the moment. I've never done this before. I'm honestly just kind of bored and have to sit here and edit anyway, so I don't know, thought it would be a nice way to hang out. I've always wanted to do more of this just when I have to sit here anyway, and it's just yeah, an easier way for me to answer questions than dealing with DMs, or not dealing with DMs. I mean, I appreciate questions. It's a little bit easier this way, and more people can see it. Bear with me 2 seconds. Trying to post on Instagram. Okay. Post it on Instagram. How's the audio? How's my voice? Hey, Greg, cool rate to share your process. Appreciate you, man. Even though you drive an Intrepid, I appreciate you. We'll let that one slide. I forgot where the camera is. We'll let that one slide. Okay. How we doing? How's this?
All right. It's gonna get.
This is the first time I've ever done a live, and I just now posted it on Instagram. So I actually don't know how the 5 of you that are in here got in here, to be honest. But maybe notifications or something. I'm not really sure. So I'm interested to see how the audio is. If you can hear me talking right now, and also if you can hear the computer.
And I shot some of the race cars, and I hadn't really been exposed. All right.
From your karting days. Yeah, I know. I worked at a go-kart company for a long time. I worked at Margay Racing for 10 years, so I am big on the go-kart scene. I still love karting. Actually, I'm going to race myself right after Petit Lama. There is a race here in St. Louis that I am going to hopefully partake in for the first time this year. I used to race a couple times a year, but now it's a little bit harder with all the travel. So Tyler got a notification. Okay, well, that's good to know. I like I said, this is my first time, so I honestly don't have any idea what I'm doing. I have all of this stuff set up already from a YouTube video that I made recently. And so I just thought it would be easy to turn it on. and see how we do. I would love to, in the future, like when I post my most recent Q&A on Instagram, got 100, just for as an example, got 120 questions, and a lot of those questions were the same. How do you get clients? Where do you start? How do you get credentials? All that kind of stuff. And it would just be significantly easier. Like, there's a lot of people you can't respond to because it's just like there's only so much time in a day. And it would just be easier for me to help everyone in one place answer those questions. So that would be my aim moving forward. So both audio sounds good. Okay, that's good to know for future reference. I have to have the audio in my ear. I have an AirPod in. Otherwise, you can hear it through the camera audio. I'm sure I'll figure this stuff out over time, but had to bump up the volume quite a bit. Okay, why don't I do that myself? Overall volume. Don't really know how, if I'm being honest. I'm sort of all the way up. So, go to sound effects pack. So you'll see on the, let me move my face a little bit. You will see on my power bin here in DaVinci, I have a few sound effects pack. I have an ocular sound effects. I have maybe used that 2 times my entire life. I have the Lobo sound effects pack, which I use quite a bit. I mostly use, you'll see in my videos, I use what he calls a long whoosh, which is just this like super, so like when I'm doing pit stop sequences, and there's like sound in between air guns and stuff like that, I'll like throw one of these in. I'll throw one of those in, and then a lot of times for like car flybys, I'll use what he calls like an impact and tail. So he's got a few of them. Here's one. So if I have a car like zooming past the camera, I'll use one of these, just to give it that sort of little extra oomph. And I should say, like, most recently, I mean, I've got like sound effects that I've curated myself from primarily Artlist, but right now I'm using a lot of Bach. So on my story highlights, you'll see I have a sort of sound effects sort of breakdown or explanation, and I sort of talk a lot about most of my sound effects that I'm using are just to sort of assist. There's a lot of sound effects guys out there that specialize in it, and that stuff's like very on top of the levels. But when you're working with like car manufacturers, they really want their engine note to be sort of prevalent. So a lot of the stuff I use is sort of underneath, just like helping assist. So you'll hear stuff like this quite a lot in my edits. One of the ones that I'm using from the Bach pack is right now is, let me like see if I can order these. This is number 7. I'm using this a lot with like car flybys. What else? Using a lot of these like when I do like little flashes on screen, low distorted riser, stuff like that. So yeah, that's pretty much what I'm using right now. I would say Bach Visuals is the main one. I'm using a lot of the Lobo one as well. I would love to make my own someday. I started making like a car sound effects pack, one that was like a folder full of BMW audio, Mercedes or Aston or whomever, because I have like massive amounts of clean passes of these cars. I just haven't gotten around. That most likely will be a winter project, like pit stop guns and all that kind of stuff. So it's a long explanation, but yeah, that's how I did it. I'm putting together my Lama vlog. If I'm being honest, I've never done a live, and you have to understand from my perspective, like I'm just sitting in my basement and there's a camera right here and there's a little chat right here where you guys are talking, and then my other monitor has my vlog that I've just now started editing. So The I don't have like a lot of filler stuff that I really talk about. I'll just be editing. So if you have questions, any question, I should say, because this is my first one, I will answer everything. So, except like, how much money do you make or stuff like that. So feel free to ask it in the chat and I will get to it. This is super strange to me, but I would love to do, I don't know. I find stuff like this a lot more fun and communal than talking to my phone and then answering sort of a bunch of DMs individually. So yeah, ask away. What's up, Patrick? How are you, buddy? The goat. No, mate. I have plenty of guys that I like. My opinion of the goat changes quite a lot, but there's a couple guys out there that are just freaking killing it right now, that are super hard to ignore. So I'm not quite there, but I appreciate the gas in the chat nonetheless. What I'm editing, just for those that care, I am putting together my vlog from the actual Lama race day. So if you don't know, I already put a vlog out from Lama, from the sort of the parades and all the activities leading up to the race day. So basically everything but the race day I already put together, and I put that on YouTube. So if you haven't seen that, please go look at that, because it really helps with my imposter syndrome and insecurity. So what I'm editing now is just sort of the race day sort of stuff. Everything that I did on race day, which was a lot of scooter riding, an awful lot of crazy fans on the pit lane, a bunch of walks through garages and stuff. A little bit more behind the scenes maybe in this one than you would usually see. I tried really hard to sort of show our day. Unfortunately, we wrecked like halfway through, so it was a bit hard to keep going after that. But nonetheless, I tell the story about my first little car, my first little model car that I bought. I've been wanting to start a little collection of these things for quite a while now, and this is the car that won Le Mans. So I thought it would be good to get it as like a bit of a starter for my collection. So so far I've copped the Ferrari 499 that won Le Mans. I have copped, because Porsche is probably my favorite like car, like road car. I got Rexy. See if I can get this to focus. I got Rexy, which is pretty good. These are all 1/43 scales. Move my water. And then I really have always loved the Paul Miller BMW. And so I got this one as well. I just think, for some reason, white on these BMWs looks so good. So those are the three that I've got so far. I don't have like a good plug on who makes them. I've just like seen these. IMSA sells them sometimes. Obviously the Le Mans store had them. So I've used them a bit. I would love to find like a place to actually shop for these things. So if you've ever used any, hit me up. Sorry, I'm behind. Actually, my first paid gig doing motorsports video this weekend. Congratulations. That's always fun. And was my second time with the Media Pass. Killer, dude. From karting to motorsports video. It's like literally the same path. The same path I was on. So I can appreciate that a lot. Where did you get to shoot? What series? Last weekend? What was last weekend? Porsche Sprint, maybe? Road America? What else? Any tips on getting clients for Petit Le Mans? Yes. So in the video I will record this week from SRO at Road America, I will talk a lot more in depth about how to get clients, like my approach to getting clients. The sort of bullet points to that video would be, the biggest thing that I've learned is to treat your to treat things like a product, to treat sort of your video sort of styles like a product. Because, like, say if you went to the store to buy something, you would get bread, right? The bread is packaged and ready for you to buy. When I walk in, it's not like people say, what are you in here for today? Or like, it's not like I go to the store without knowing what I want. And all that, what I'm trying to say is, like, PR managers, right? They know that they need marketing, right? And they very rarely have ever come to me and said, this is exactly what I need. I need these things, these 5 things, and this is exactly what I need. As you go up, like car manufacturers and series, they will have ideas like that. But as you're just starting out, approaching drivers and teams, it's very important to, like, package your video products. And for me, just as an example, like, I have Reels. Obviously, that's like the most popular right now. I have social media clips. That's a big product for me. So like, those 2 things are technically separate. So Reels, I would consider like an edited 15-second piece. And video clips for me are, so each day a client that has that video clip package will get anywhere from 4 to 8 on track or like getting suited up clips from me individually, so that they could make their own reels like in between events, or what a lot of times happens is they will sort of put single clips in their stories, or it'll be the background of a results graphic, or they can use it however they want. And a lot of times I'll deliver it in sort of slow motion and regular speed. So that's like a product. Long form recaps are a product. And so those are, for me, those are sort of my 3 core products. Occasionally I'll do just footage for people. Like when I shot for WEC a couple weeks ago at Coda, there was a whole deliverable that was just sending raw footage. So that's a separate deal, not as common. But anyway, in terms of getting new clients, that's a big one. You don't go to them saying, hey, can I do video for you? You go to them saying, hey, here's some video services that I offer if you're interested. Give them an extremely easy way to say yes, or pick between the different services that you have. So that's a big one. In terms of who you're targeting, at this point in the season, most people have somebody already, right? So what I would be looking for, if I was on the sidelines right now trying to get to Petit Le Mans, or anybody trying to get to any race, I would be looking at teams and drivers that are in championship contention, because those are generally moments that people want captured. I would look for Petit Le Mans, I would look at WeatherTech. Is going to be tough. A lot of those teams have had contracts with people for the year, so hard to get in. But there's Michelin Pilot. I think there's VP at Petit Le Mans, and there's other support series too. I don't even know. I don't remember which ones are there, but I would be reaching out to all the support series and the drivers and the teams that are in relative either championship hunt or sort of close to that. So that's how I would be doing it. That's how I did do it starting out, and it sort of served me super good. But I'll get more in detail on that next week when I record the video, sort of talking about the business side of this industry. The Le Mans practice vlog, shall we call it? Yeah, it was very solid. Appreciate that. I spent a lot of time on that one compared to some of the other ones. I feel like I was sort of not putting a massive effort into the vlogs, in both recording and editing. Definitely editing. I was just sort of throwing stuff together. So Le Mans being what it is, I really made a stronger effort to capture that. I think I did it better in the practice week than I do in this race day one that you'll find. Definitely a lot more BTS in the race day vlog. Stuff like you'll see just like eating, like how so the race day one is going to be more of like a day in the life. So like it'll show me eating, it'll show me riding on my scooter, that kind of stuff. I mean, I don't get everything. It rained extremely hard, and that threw like a big wrench in a lot of my plans. So nonetheless, it'll have a lot more BTS type stuff. Yeah, and I'm pretty excited to make it. I'm going to try to put it out this week. Who knows? We'll see. Am I coming back to VIR next weekend? Yes, for IMSA. I will be there Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So very excited. I was just there a couple weeks ago for SRO. So I feel like I got reacquainted with it. It had been a year or so since I was there. So yeah, looking forward to getting back. I was wondering what tips you had for getting videos for sprint style races, i.e. 20, 30-minute race groups. Obviously, the shorter the race, the harder it is to get enough footage, enough action footage. So you'll definitely want to pick corners that yield you the most sort of shot variations. Like, for example, at Road America, where I'm going this weekend, there's a shot in what's called Canada Corner at the top of this hill through the trees. It's the iconic shot. The issue with that is you only really get 1 or 2 shots from that. Whereas, like, in a place like Turn 7 at Road America, you can get almost 4 shots from that one turn without really having to move around that much. So definitely try to go to corners that give you a high yield on the different shot types that you can have. If you have less time, definitely try to have a tight and a wide shot of different corners. That'll throw in some variation. And then lots of pit lane stuff or garage type stuff to tell your story. I mean, in racing, there's usually a false grid where the cars will stage. You can usually get the drivers getting in the cars right there. 20-30-minute race probably doesn't have pit stops, so that's a bit unfortunate, but you can definitely, hopefully they podium. So there's a few clips you can throw in the video. So it's tough. I have the advantage of doing a lot of like endurance stuff. Like our practice sessions alone, next weekend at VIR with IMSA will be like an hour and a half. So it's a little bit easier. So I don't know, man. Good luck. You need to cop all the AO racing stuffed animal. Yeah. Yeah. I love the AO stuff. That's why I am a massive fan of. My brain doesn't work properly on looking at the screen on where to put it to get it to focus, but I love the Roxy, and Spike stuff. I think they are super smart for doing all that. They have created a lot of fanfare, gotten a lot of kids into a sport that really needs them. So I love this stuff. They've got 2 wins now in Rexy, and I would love to see more gold teeth. Or maybe I should put the gold teeth on this thing. I could probably like cut out some vinyl. I just think they're super cool. I think that deal's really cool. I don't know about stuffed animals because my dog would destroy them. So, but maybe they're cars. Maybe if they make a Roxy car, I'll get the Roxy car for sure. Conference race at Portland. I've been to Portland a few times. It's a decent track. I mean, it's a bit small compared to some of the other ones, but there's some. The turn 1, 2, 3 area is really good. The sort of S's after the backstretch is really good. There's lots of good stuff at PIR, but nonetheless, man, congrats. That's getting your first one out of the way is huge, and definitely gives you more sort of stuff in the hopper so that you can make more. And increasing your portfolio early, especially if you can get paid to increase the level in your portfolio, is a massive W. But is there a platform to see? But is there first of all, no stupid questions. Well, this isn't a stupid question. I'm sorry if it's a stupid question, but is there a platform to see all the teams that participate? Yes. So when I was first starting out, I learned that IMSA actually has like let me see if I can bring a little tab over here. Sorry, give me 2 seconds. So IMSA has a little, I don't remember exactly where it is because I haven't used it in a long time, but so like for like Michelin Pilot, if you wanted to find people in Michelin Pilot, they have like a team link somewhere. Just like have to remember where it is, where it basically lists all of the teams that are participating, or they used to. The classes, the cars, how to watch, tracks, drivers and teams. Okay, yeah, drivers and teams. So what I did was they have this whole page with all these people that compete in this type of racing. So I would go in, Archangel, they're in St. Louis actually. They're really close to home. And a driver of theirs is a client of mine. But so I would go in, I create an Excel spreadsheet, put all these teams in there, do the same for WeatherTech, do the same for VP and anything that would be racing. I would find their social medias. I would try to find their emails. A lot of times on Facebook, on their Facebook page, if you go to the About, you can find an email or their website or something like that. And then I would basically just cold email all of them. And every now and then, like the biggest clients I have now I got from cold emailing when I basically had nothing in my portfolio. So I think timing is a big part of that. It's tough at the last part of the year, but if you focus, like I said, on teams that are in podium sort of contention or championship contention, they're a lot more likely to hire. So that's my take on how to find the right teams. In terms of drivers, like I've never used that, but they do have a drivers page as well. That's just going to be a lot more work. So sorry. I'm still getting used to this, so you have to bear with me. I was at Road America, yes. For the IMSA race, I will be there again. I leave actually tomorrow. I'll be at Road America again this weekend for the GT World Challenge. Hopefully good weather. It was a bit toasty there when I was there a couple weeks ago. Hello, just wanted to drop by quickly and say thanks for the context from races, something I always wanted to do as a younger guy and never followed that trajectory. Appreciate you, brother. I'm not a young guy either, but it was always something I wanted to do, and then when COVID happened, I think everyone sort of started evaluating what was important to them. And to be honest, I didn't really shoot video before then. Picked up a camera and became obsessed with YouTube videos, and yeah, here we are. Thanks, Isaac. I didn't scroll down far enough, but I appreciate you letting him know. Hopefully not. So yeah. Cheers from my cozy wrapping a beer here in Europe. Received a swag after waiting like 4 months. Right on, brother. Cheers, mate. I'm sorry, I'm trying to keep up. I guess I'm a little slow. How long did you usually camp out a spot before moving to the next spot? Do you do any scouting or planning ahead of time of how you might want to move around the track? Yes, absolutely on the scouting. So as to sort of speak on that, I have never been to Canadian Tire. I went there for the first time this week. I guess Lama would be a good one as well. But and so like at Canadian Tire, I went out a full hour before my session because their map, for whatever reason, some of these maps don't show like where the gates are. That's a big one, where the gates are to get inside of that inner ring. And then sort of getting a feel on where the red zones are and how easy it is to travel from spot to spot. So using Canadian Tire as an example, there's each track has like the sort of signature shots, right? Canadian Motorsports, Canadian Tire, it's like turn 3 or 4 or 5, I don't remember, where the cars are sort of apexing and the fans have a CTMP sort of Hollywood style sign up on the hill. And so I tend to like try to get those first because that clients will always want to post those as just clips, like I said, the clips product earlier. And so like I'll know I got to go there because I have to get that shot, right? So then I'll try to figure out, where's the sun, which direction should I be pointing the camera, and try to find the easiest route that will yield me the most sort of product, the most clips that I can get in that hour. And like I said, in our case, our sessions are an hour and a half, which is a little bit of an advantage. So yes, I do scout out. I think it's super important to figure out how you're going to get around. You definitely, especially if your sessions are 20 or 30 minutes, you have to know where you're going. Like you cannot waste laps. Like if a lap is 4 minutes, it should take you less than 4 minutes to get from one spot to the other. And in terms of how long I stay at a corner, I typically don't stay any longer than I have to. Sometimes I will get a 60 frame per second clip and a 24, because in the edits I tend to love to use the 24 frame stuff, but on the clips, customers really like having the slow-mo version available. But I don't love using the 60 frame per second stuff in reels just because I love motion blur. I love the sport seeming fast. So sometimes I'll stay for a couple laps to get one in both, but I spend as little time as possible in the corner. And generally at this point, I know if I got it. I know if the camera focused good. I know if I got it or not. Love your work. It's inspired me to want to try video. I just cannot commit to it. I'll stick to photography and leave video to the experts. Yeah, it's I think it's for me it's a passion deal. Like I've always loved video. If I loved photography, that's what I'd be doing. There are plenty of people that like love are sort of indifferent, and then they'll go with one that they sort of know is popular. Like obviously video is popular, or if they're in a space or at a series where photography has like a proper need, that's the direction they'll go. But I can definitely understand the sentiment of sticking with what you know. It's video. They're in the same space. People think they're the same, but they're two totally different disciplines. How was your first experience at CTMP? I liked CTMP a lot. I felt like I was just getting the hang of it, to be honest. But the track is beautiful. The elevation is amazing. It's very Road America-esque in a lot of places in terms of like there's just a lot of fans in green. But then like on the back straight with the Armcos, like if you took a photo of that, I would think it was Lama. Like that, like with the forest and the Armco the way that it is, it looks just like the Mulsanne. So I think the place is beautiful. I think it raced really well. I started to figure it out a little better towards the end of the day, but I loved it. Who would you say is your biggest inspiration to learn new editing and filming techniques? Well, that's changed. It changes all the time, really. When I was first getting into this, when I decided I wanted to do it, I was really big on two guys that are now like really close friends, Flying Lap Media, or Chris Ortenberger, and Wyatt Lloyd. Both those guys were in the karting scene, which is what I was in like my other job at the time. And I just really liked it. I thought they were fun. I thought their stuff was super high quality, and that was like my entry in, my first obsession. It's changed after that. I would say right this second. Short form stuff, it's really hard to beat Yuri Alma. He is a friend now as well. He's just a crazy nice kid, and his work is just absolutely insane. And WEC, like I said, WEC hired me recently to shoot a test session and make a couple reels for them. And he usually does their stuff, and it's just super intimidating to fill his shoes. I think he's crazy good. I think it's hard to find people that are that good at editing and shooting and coloring, and just I think the kid's crazy good. So he's my favorite right this second on short form, and then long form, Adam Dismore. He works for Mercedes. His stuff is insane, like absolutely insane. It's like a 2-minute reel. Maybe a bit, his stuff tends to look a little bit the same race after race, but his shots are insane. His editing is like next level. So if you haven't checked those two, I can't imagine that you haven't checked those guys out, but if you haven't, you should do that. Mark Irvin spoke about this in his Hockenheim vlog. It almost bites him. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, you're not wrong. It's you got to know where you're going. I've been screwed plenty of times. At Le Mans, actually, I couldn't figure out how to get to the last 2 turns, that little chicane, and I burned like 5 laps of a session. And I wish at the end of the session, I wish I would have had those back. So, yeah, not ideal. In camera positioning video, you talk about using the light. Endurance obviously helps with that. But do you put a bigger priority on lighting and maybe having to go back to spots at different times? Moving around the track efficiently. I mean, you can't make a reel with no clips, right? So in a way, I would say I'd prioritize getting the most footage you can. Having a polarizer is super important in that respect, in that if you do have to shoot against the light, so like a lot of times my rule of thumb would be to shoot towards your shadow, right? Very front lit. As you get more experience, like I'll use side light quite a lot, but when you're first starting out, that's my general rule of thumb, is shoot towards your shadow. Now, when you have to shoot a little bit more backlit or towards the sun, especially at the rough times of day, having a polarizer on the lens where you can cut out like that glare in the racetrack helps out a massive amount. So just like at Road America last week, turn 7 is a great shot coming at you, but it's also a really cool shot of them hitting the curb going away, but the light isn't as good in the time of day I was there. So I would overexpose a little bit more to sort of brighten up some of the sections that would have been dark because it was kind of shadowed. And you can use that polarizer, kill the light reflections in the track, and it almost sort of looks like, you wouldn't be able to tell as bad that you were backlit. So I would say moving around the track efficiently is the most important, and have a polarizer. But on the endurance stuff, if you can get with the light good, if you've got time, definitely better lighting is always better. I guess you could say, like at the start of a race, when cars are all together, is like the most important time to just get whatever you can because the action is high. But after that, yeah, I would say I would put a big priority on light personally. So sorry, I'm checking Instagram really quickly. I'm sorry. Okay. How long have I been doing this? I don't even know. How do I check? I don't even know how to check. Does something tell me? Maybe. Well, however long it's been, I'm gonna start messing with this edit now. So I have done almost nothing. And just for if any of the couple people that are here didn't know, this is like the race day vlog. A lot more behind the scenes stuff. A lot more like, I tried to do more POV type of stuff, and even some of the stuff you don't think about, like eating, which is for a 24-hour race is actually not the easiest thing to always find time to do. I know it, like the perception on 24-hour races is that, it's super long, so you have a massive amount of time, but yeah, I don't know why, but like you really just don't. Whether it's, there's certain sessions that are really good for light, whether it's nighttime, obviously, golden hour on both sides. There's usually fireworks right after dark. So like you have all these different times that you have to shoot stuff and then deliver it. So there's not as much time as you would think, even though the race is quite a bit long, to make the type of content that we make. Obviously, if you're making one single reel or something, you would need to sort of shoot as much. I don't even know what I'm doing with this one. I think in this one I'm going to do more sort of voiceover stuff. So I'll have like sections of me talking, but then like while I'm riding my scooter, I think would be a good time to sort of, because I don't explain, I like briefly went over the footage earlier. I don't always explain super good, like what I'm doing. So like as an example here, I'm going to the grid to get ready to shoot the cars coming out where they stage and do the whole parade and stuff. And I don't feel like I explain much. Obviously my main focus is always going to be on getting the client what I need to get for the edit. So sometimes on the personal content it takes a bit of a backseat. So I think I'm going to do some voiceover stuff on this one, which I haven't done yet in the vlogs, but I think this one kind of needs it. So Portland's proven me tricky in the light regarding. Yeah. It mainly got east to west. The light is almost never good on both sides of the turn. Yeah, usually light, that's sort of the way the light works, right? It won't be good on both sides of the turn unless the light is like super low in the sky, because then you can shoot backlit and it just sort of be a bit artsy. So that's just the way it goes. That's why it's so important to have a polarizer. You can shoot backlit like in noon and stuff, or even a little bit after, and cut some of those light refractions down on the track. Some of that polarized light, you just cut it out completely. So that's why I think polarizers are super important. And at places like Portland, so the higher you go in the country, right? So like all the northern stuff, the Watkins, the Portland, all that kind of stuff, Road America, where we're going this weekend, the light path in the sky is a little bit harder to shoot with. Whereas like places like down in Florida, it feels like the light is always like never really in a bad spot, because it takes a bit more of a shallow, it's not like a cartoon where everything goes from horizon straight up above you and down. It just doesn't really work that way. So for some reason, I find it way easier to shoot in Florida any time of day than I do sort of up north at a place like Road America or Portland. Could you possibly do a video on sound design and how to change or alter sounds in DaVinci? Keep it going, mate. You're smashing it. First of all, I appreciate it. Second of all, who is it? Johnny? Johnny. Second of all, Johnny, let me just show you something here. If you go to youtube.com, click on my little thing, go to videos, I have this wonderful, where is it? I do have one, right? I'm pretty sure. Oh, yeah. How I use sound effects in my videos. And, oh, Jesus. See, this is what makes me mad. It's running an ad, but I'm not even monetized. So who gets this money? Freaking Google. Anyway, I talk a lot about sound effects. I use Bach Visual Sound Effects Pack because they're numbered. I'll show you in my program really quickly what that looks like. So his sound effects are numbered. And so I basically walk through how I edited one of my reels. I showed the exact sounds that I use, and I don't alter them a massive amount. So like all I'll really do, just as a point of reference, like if I have like a sound, for example, like this isn't a, well, I don't think I don't have a proper reel to show, but all I'll really do is if I feel like the sound is too high or too low, like I'll go into an equalizer and boost, you know, the lows or kill the highs or whatever. But I don't actually mess with the sound effects all that much. I sort of keep them how they were intended to be used. But go watch that video. It's if you follow me on Instagram, I have a story highlight linking to that video as well. So I would suggest watching that one because that particular process is still current for me. Morning, mate. Or evening for me. It's 8 p.m. here. I think you're in Australia, right? I think so. I think that's right. Or somewhere close to that. New Zealand, maybe. But glad to have you. Sorry, I keep... as I said, I'm quite new to this, so like knowing which program I'm even supposed to be looking at is proving difficult. Do you use a GoPro to vlog or your mirrorless? That's a good question. I don't use my mirrorless. I don't know. First of all, I don't always have like a wide angle lens on me. But it would be hard to carry that puppy around sometimes. And vlogging to me only works if it's super easy to do. So I've switched from the vlogs that you're seeing, that you will have seen up to this point. Like this shot here is a GoPro shot. There's a polarizer and an ND filter on the front, but it's a GoPro 11 black, and then I've just sort of, I have like my little color grade that I put on it where I convert the footage, expose the footage, add some, I don't want to say orange teal, but put my lead on, sharpen it. Super basic stuff. I have a little external mic that is bolted on with the media mod, a little Sennheiser, I think. But since then, all the stuff that you'll see after the Watkins vlog, so there's the Lama one I still have to do, and then Watkins. After that, I'll have one that will be all shot on the Osmo Pocket 3. So the Osmo Pocket 3 I found is super impressive. It has a 1-inch sensor, so you do get some like blur on the background. I think the autofocus is really good. I actually think the sound quality, if you like, it has mics on the sides and front and back. If you mute the back and the sides and just use the front, I think the sound quality is actually really good. And I just really think it's an impressive little camera. So I've switched to that a little bit. I haven't actually made much with it, but I will be switching to that moving forward. What's something that helps you shoot, not overshoot in endurance races? I shoot 8-hour races and sometimes come back with way too much footage to sift through and build reels. Or do you pre-plan your reels? Well, I would say I pre-plan. I pre-plan music, which sort of gives me the vibe of what I need. So if I have a song, that's relatively slow, and I know I'm going to do a lot of slow motion, I will attack corners where the car has like fun action, like over the curbs, or like at Sebring, going over bumps, or at Road America, like shooting them, like hitting a curb through a tree or something. So I know that those are the shots that I need. If I'm using like my stuff on my Instagram is very like hip hop and fast, so I'll go to corners where I know the cars have a lot of speed, and I won't spend a lot of time shooting those sort of slow-mo shots because I know I won't use them. So it's hard to not overshoot. I think you just get a sense of like how much you need, and sort of just go from there. I know that's not a great answer, but that's sort of how I approach it. I like I said, I have a clip, sort of one of my video products is delivering single clips to people. So I know that I have to get as much as I can for that. So sometimes after I've shot what I think I need for the reel, I'll move on to spots that just give me a good clip, not something I would use in a reel, but something that they might use like as a story background or a results background or something like that. So tough not to overshoot. A couple good pit stops on an 8-hour race, a couple good drivers getting suited up, and if you think about it, like a reel has maybe 20 to 25, 30 clips. So that's what you need. After you feel like you've got that, you can get a bit more artistic after you've got some safe stuff, but that's sort of how I think of it. No problem, Johnny. 11 a.m. Nice. But you're a full day ahead. It's already Wednesday over there. You guys are way ahead. How much equipment are you usually hauling around the track? A lot less than I used to. I'm finding more and more that I don't need. You know, when you're first starting out, I have a feeling like I used to take like everything with me all the time, and nowadays having an external recorder so that I can record 32-bit float audio, like I don't do that. I don't ever use it. So if I don't use it, I don't take it. But just as a point of reference, this is my case, like right after, I think, Daytona. I have a book bag that has like my laptop, sort of extras. I have one wide angle lens that I'm using for this right now, a Sigma 16 to 35. But outside of that, I have this Sigma 24 to 70. I have a Sony 100 to 400. I have an A7S III, and I have an FX3. This is all audio. Both of them have audio setups, batteries, rocket blower. It's my monitor arm. Underneath this camera is the external monitor for this camera. I don't use one on the small one, and that's pretty much all I bring. Obviously, in the lid is SD cards, and I have a color checker and my mic, my lav mics, and rain gear, and all that kind of stuff. But I take as absolutely little as possible to the racetrack nowadays. So I take this case, I take a book bag, and I take my tripod, and that's it. Well, and clothes. I take clothes. What sort of turnaround time do your clients tend to expect? So it just depends. So most clients, I sort of break clients into two categories. There's coverage, and then there's art. Coverage clients, which is probably 95% of them, want the stuff right away, right? Because you're covering the event, especially if they do well. So they want that stuff right away. Whereas like art clients tend to, want you to make like transitions and things like that. And they're more concerned about the reach and the views than they are about the speed in which it's uploaded. So as an example, let me just try to find one from, I probably can't show you WEC stuff yet. I want to show you this stuff, but actually, you know what? I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you one thing. Don't tell on me. Rain. Check out this. Look at this crap. Let me bring this down. bring this up just a little bit. Just this first transition I was super proud of. Here we go. All right, that's all you get. That's all you get from the WEC stuff. I'm not trying to get in trouble. Hopefully that stuff will be on the World Endurance Championship site very soon. But just as an example, an actual example, let's go to Harder Racing. Let's go to Road America. I'm probably not connected to the NAS yet. F. I don't have that drive in just yet, but let's go to Laguna. God dang it. Let me hook up to the NAS really quickly. I got my NAS system. If you ever want to know how I structure my storage, let me know. I use a NAS system, and it's the greatest thing I've ever invested in outside of maybe a camera and my scooter. So let me hook into that really quickly. When I edited this, I was on an external drive at the track, but now all that stuff's on my NAS. So we'll let it find the clips and then show you. But generally speaking, you have to deliver stuff pretty quick. So for me, I tend to, if a race day, when I was first starting out, if a race day was 3 days, clients would want a reel each day, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And they would post it super late at night at obscure times. Most of my delivery is end of day, sort of for posting the next day. So something I delivered Sunday would be like, I would deliver it at like midnight, and then they would post it Monday morning. Since then, I've convinced most of my clients that the internet doesn't really love that. So like spreading reels out on Instagram is better for your reach. So we'll do like a preview reel on like Wednesday before the event, which helps me out a lot because that's one deliverable I get to make from home. And then I only have 2 things to make during the weekend. So we'll make one post qualifying reel and one post race reel that they'll post on Monday. And as an example, so like here is like a set of deliverables for, I don't think you're supposed to see this either, to be honest. I'm getting in trouble. So like I would do a preview reel. That's done. That's not in this project. So that I deliver Wednesday. Like I'll do one tomorrow for Heart of Racing to post by the end of the day tomorrow. That sort of just sets up the social media for the weekend. I'll do one with my deal with them is I do one after qualifying. So I try to have this one pretty quick. So Friday, I won't deliver anything to them besides just social media clips, no actual edits. But I'll get started so that right after qualifying, I can deliver something like this. Let me scoot this down. So what I was saying earlier, a song that really is made for slow-mo, and sort of Laguna with this corkscrew is sort of made for slow-mo as well. So I'll deliver something like this really quickly after qualifying on Saturday. Like here I use pit lane stuff of them without suits. I have to get all that stuff out on Saturday because on Sunday they're wearing their actual fire suits. So this footage does nothing for me then. So I know I don't have to hold anything back. I use as much as I can. And I do a lot of pit stop sequences. I just think that has a lot of energy, and Roman sort of always gives me the smoke show, so appreciate that guy. And then Sunday night after the race, I will deliver, or sometimes Monday morning, because generally the posting schedule is in the afternoon, I'll deliver something like this. Okay, so to answer your question, basically during the course of a 3-day race, I will deliver something to this one client Saturday, sort of midday after qualifying, and then Sunday, end of day, or Monday morning for them to post on Monday. So I don't know how that lines up with like how fast you would want to deliver it, but generally like I'll go into the event. This is my audio or my music track. I'll go into an event with this already in the program, marked up. I'll usually get it approved by the client in advance. So that makes the whole process like so much easier. I don't think I'm gonna edit any of this log, am I? I kind of dig this though. This is like good vibes. I wish I don't know. I'll have to look up. This was a bit of a last minute thing. I don't know if I can play music or not. I would love to play music, some kind. I expected to be editing, to be honest, but perhaps in the future I'll just chat. And sort of, it seems like there's enough questions here where it's like I'm not getting to them fast enough. So, what stabilization do you use on the FX3? I get a jitter a lot when shooting handheld with the 100 to 400. Okay, here's the thing, Patrick. So the stabilization, if you have the G Master 100 to 400, I'm not sure about like the Sigma or anything. It has stabilization on the camera or on the lens, and then you have stabilization in the camera, and those two things sort of work together. But just to like sort of set the stage, if you're on a tripod with those stabilizations on and you're panning, you'll often get like a bit of a catch, like where it's like panning fine, and then like the sensor will like give one really big jitter as you keep panning. So that happens when the stabilization of the tripod, like the natural stabilization of the tripod, and then the stabilization of the lens and the camera are sort of all working against each other. So always when I'm on a tripod, stabilization is off. There are times, I'm not very good at handheld yet, but there are times where I am like really smooth, and if I have stabilization on, I'll get the same problem where I'll be panning and like halfway through a pan, it'll get like one big jitter or I don't know what to call it, but one big like click almost, and have, a bit of an issue. So I tend to leave stabilization off entirely nowadays, unless I'm walking with a camera, or sometimes on the pit lane if I want to be more mobile, I'll have stabilization on with my wide lens. But on my 100 to 400 anymore, unless I'm at like 400 millimeter and hand holding, I usually don't have stabilization on at all anymore. I hope that helps. Being smooth handheld is just, it's not something I'm super good at, but it definitely is something that is a massive help. I'm actually interested in how you structure your file system. I spent a few weeks coming up with a file tree I think works well. Always curious what others are doing. So how I do it on my NAS system is probably, or how my NAS works is probably for another day, but just as an example, well, WEC's not a good idea because I don't have a massive amount of clients. So just let's say for SRO at Coda, it's pretty simple. So my parent file will have audio, which is basically where I put my songs for the weekend, and then folders for each day of shooting on track, and then the class in which I shot. So this is GT World Challenge from Saturday, and I know that all that stuff, I know what clients I have in that class and sort of where that stuff's going to be. Now, for client-specific stuff and for renders, I have a clients folder. Like this one, I had 4 clients. I will generally have my edits. So these are 3 edits I did that weekend. And then I'll have the single product, the social media clips. So I've got, just as an example, number 8 is a cool shot of the sort of sunset with the Dakota Tower and the Texas flag. I'll deliver that to them as a single clip. I shot it in 60 frames per second so that I can also deliver it in a slow motion version as well. So if I have like interviews or any content that is specific for a client, it'll go in these client folders. Outside of that, all the on-track stuff is just in each day, broken down by day, and then class. So that's how my file structure works. I'm sure there's a better way to do it. It's just the one that works for me. How long does it typically take you to edit an art reel? Like the stuff I do, for example, this weekend, I do like some artistic stuff for Heart of Racing, and then Samantha Tan this weekend. I would say an art reel. I mean, I could spend 8 hours, 10 hours on it if I could, but a lot of times you're up against a posting schedule. And so for me, I'm probably 4 hours into like a proper art reel, and I should say the art stuff is more expensive. Almost twice as much money I charge for that stuff versus like a coverage style reel. And so just as an example of what a coverage style reel looks like, just going back to Coda because we were just using that example. So like my buddy Jaden, he does coverage style. So basically I'll offer reels at 2 price points, coverage and then art. And the art stuff is obviously much more expensive because it takes a lot more time and planning and stuff like that. So here's what a coverage reel looks like. So a little more basic. Still, of course, Jaden is a good guy and a friend, and he was on the podium. So always try to give a little extra gas where I can, especially if they let me deliver it a little bit later. I give it a little bit more gas. It's hard to blur the line for me on the art stuff versus the coverage stuff because like I want to go full out always, but the reality is like with the way timelines are for people. And also, you know, you want to make as much money as possible. So, I mean, I'm not trying to take one client per day and make one reel if I can, with that same amount of time, have 2 clients and earn twice as much money on a given weekend. So, yeah, that's how I would say 4 hours or so for an art style reel. Like transitions usually take time. If you plan well, it's not that bad, but yeah. Oh man, I'm far behind. I'm gonna take a drink of water. This is cool. An hour. I've been doing this for an hour. Holy smokes. I appreciate you guys, man. What is today? Tuesday? You guys are hanging out? This is pretty cool. Here's a question while I answer other questions. Since this is the most concurrent viewers we've had. Is this interesting to you? And if so, in the future, what exactly would you want to see? My intention today was to edit my vlog. If I'm being honest, I honestly didn't think anybody would be here. So I just expected to be editing and having one person come in and out asking questions. I did not expect to have so many. And I really want to answer all these. That's the whole point. So I'm not actually editing that much. So in the future, what would be entertaining and or beneficial? Watching me actually edit something and not really dealing with questions, or like theming a filmmaker chat or whatever I call this around a certain topic, whether it's gear or the business side or accounting or pricing or any of that stuff. How can I maximize this time, more effectively? So I would love to hear. I mean, you guys are the ones that are watching it, so I would love to hear what you have to say. Do any clients want you to be making edits during active sessions, or are they lenient, understanding if you edit if you're editing, you're not shooting? I would say there are definitely clients that I'm not going to name names, but there are manufacturers and clients out there that want like extreme, what I would call like extreme coverage. So they want you to like have like a mid-race edit or a race start edit, where you basically just throw a few clips like in there with a song and they can post something right away. And those are generally massive accounts that there's actually people wanting that information. It's rare for the smaller teams or drivers to want that amount of stuff, because basically, like for me, I'm charging per deliverable, right? So if they're viewing views or likes or whatever, shares or whatever as a return on investment, if that's how they're measuring that, it's actually better for me to do less edits, if that makes sense. So I have clients that are super up on social media. Like Samantha Tan knows her and her PR Victor know how to use social media, and they know that if they give me all weekend and I just deliver them one thing on Sunday night, it's going to get 10 times more views than if you force me to sort of shove the best of that day into one reel that I deliver each night. And so for clients that think in terms of views and reach and, you know, the social side of this industry, they're actually going to get way better results if they give me a whole weekend and just let me edit one thing. Whereas like there are car manufacturers, for example, that are not in it for the views, right? They're just trying to make their existing followers. They're not trying to reach new people as much. They're just trying to make their existing followers aware and sort of excited about the brand. And so in that, you end up making a lot more deliverables that are a lot, I don't want to say lower quality because I don't mean it like that, just a lot less artistic. So it just sort of depends on the client. For me, I think people hire me for the more artsy type of stuff. And in that regard, I don't do a lot of like during the race content. Oh, sorry, Will. I guess I answered it again. Do you see yourself as more of a documentarian capturing what happened, or do you ever talk to a team about staging shots and sequences such as pit stops? I wish that you could convince a team to do practice pit stops, but a lot of the time at tracks, there's just not that opportunity. Like at all the IMSA races, for example, there's if the WeatherTech series isn't on track, there's somebody else on track, so the pit lane's not open, right? So you couldn't really stage that kind of stuff. I do try to stage as much as possible, like driver shoots, them gearing up, the crew sort of working with the car. I've done a lot of transitions where I've staged like wheel guns coming up and stuff like that, but it's incredibly hard. These guys are very busy, and I found it very hard to stage stuff. I talked a little bit about Adam Dinsmore. God, I'm embarrassed I don't remember it, and he has a lot of stage shot. He has a lot of buy-in from Mercedes, the drivers, the teams, and it is my hope that the rest of this year and next year to make a stronger effort into organizing those types of things with teams, because if you can stage that stuff, like just as an example, if I get a driver shot of a driver getting ready, like on the far end of the pit lane with like just their tent in the background, it's kind of lame. But if I can get them like at Indianapolis to stand on the bricks where I can have the pagoda in the background and them putting their helmet on, that's a far better shot. It's not inauthentic. It's not a game time shot, but nobody said it was, you know what I'm saying? So that's a 10x better shot than the one at the far end of the pit lane with just their fuel rig and tent in the background. But it takes extra effort to coordinate those things. So I'm going to make a better effort at that, and I would recommend anybody do the same. Do I prefer shooting reels or longer weekend recaps? I don't know. I like the pay of the longer stuff. I like how quickly I can be done with the shorter stuff. My dog's acting a fool. I don't know if you can see her. Probably not. She's right. I don't know how this works. F. She's like right on the couch behind me, acting a fool. Danny, what are you doing? Yeah, I don't know. I like doing both. I really like storytelling. I like the challenge of the longer stuff. It's really easy to keep people's attention for 20 seconds with some fast like trickery and transitions. It's a lot harder to do it for 2 minutes. So I sort of have been enjoying that challenge. I've done a few for Harder Racing at the WEC races this year. I've done a few for Triarci as well this year, a Ferrari team in IMSA, and I've really enjoyed those. It's just they take me days, man. It's like hard for my brain to sort of understand how long those take. Danny, come say hi. Come say hi. Come here. Come here. I know. I need to take you on a walk. Come say hi. Get up here. Get up here. Come say hi. I know. I'll take you so soon. I'll take you on a walk very soon. It's just there's people here. There's people in here that want to know things. I'll take you so soon. I'm so sorry. I didn't realize it was dark. I honestly didn't think I'd be doing it this long. Okay. Couple more because my dog's begging. Yes. The flick, whatever it's called, the sensor flick, ruined some pans, so turn stabilization off. Kind of a broad question, but how does one go from amateur in the fan zones to getting access to photography areas of the track? You can come back to this question later if you want. No, it's simple. I do have a video on my page where I talk about how I went from such a thing. I have to remember, yeah, technically you're over here. I'm looking at myself on my little preview screen here, and it's hard for me to remember that you, the proverbial you, are over here. What I would do, here, I'll just tell you my brief summary of my story. I wanted to get into this deal. I had a bit more of a corporate job. I wanted to get into shooting video. I spent an entire year going to various tracks around St. Louis. Most notably, there was an SRX series, which was a Tony Stewart series in Nashville, which is about 5 hours away from me. I went and shot that. It was super hot outside, just as a fan. I went and shot that video. I was putting a big emphasis on being creative then and now. And I made this little stop motion sort of driver intro type of thing in that video. I started cold emailing teams at the end of that year after I had a few products that I could sort of show them. And just to be real honest, this Heart of Racing team, this exact reel right here, it was that edit that I made, which had nothing to do with sports car racing, nothing to do with pit stops and Aston Martin or any of that stuff. It was that creativity from that little edit that they were like, yeah, we'd actually like to have you come out and try to do Daytona for us. I did Daytona for them in 22, and I have been with this team ever since. They have drugged me all the way around the world. I've been to the Middle East, I've been to Europe, Canada, obviously the United States, and all because on a really hot weekend when I didn't want to do it, to be honest, because it was for free and for no money, I basically just shot content as a fan, trying to be as creative as possible. So that's how you get access and credential access by having a client. I mean, I know people hate that, but that is the way it goes. So best way to get clients is to provide them something that other people aren't providing them. Be more creative, higher quality, all of that kind of stuff, and faster. Speed, turnaround time is a massive sort of component in this industry. I hope that answers it. If you want more, watch that How to Become a Motorsport Videographer video on my page. Oh man, I'm way behind. Holy smokes. Oh no. Trying to learn professional expectations of both photo and video. So far, most photo folks have said clients want uploads multiple times during the race. In photos, that's common. Photo clients do want uploads several times during the race. I don't think video is similar. I rarely have that issue. Unless it's something major, I rarely have that issue. Yeah, the business side, I come from a business background. So the business side of this industry is what I would like, what I feel like I can offer and what I think is lacking. There's lots of talented shooters. The business side of the sport is harder to pick up, and I've made a lot of mistakes. So like, I would love to start sharing more of that. The video I'm shooting this weekend at Road America is specifically centered around sort of hoping that I can answer some of those questions. No, I didn't. That's me. Yeah. I haven't cut a single thing on the vlog. I sort of gave up a bit ago, so I intended to do it a lot tonight. I got this wild hair to do this live, just for I don't know, just for fun. But I honestly didn't expect anybody to be here, so this has been cool for the past hour. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate it. Live Q&A, then cut for reels and socials. Yeah. All right. Good to know for the next one. Glad you got the stream working too. That must be Evan. Appreciate your help, bud. I was actually struggling to figure out why I couldn't do the live chat, and then you said it's because I didn't toggle the not made for kids thing. So something I'll know in the future. In terms of do I shoot vertical or horizontal, I shoot almost everything horizontal on track, and I shoot if I know I'm delivering vertical, I will shoot vertical in the pit lane, just so I can do lots of punching in and out, because a lot of times I can't get as close as I want to get. And so that helps a little bit. But on track, just because of the way the ergonomics of the camera are and monitor and mic, it's just easier for me to film horizontal. I'm going to talk about pricing, but I'm going to save that for the video that I'm making at Road America this weekend, because it's very in-depth. It's not so easy just to say a price. I'm going to try to be super honest. I'm going to basically tell you what I charged when I first started. I'm going to tell you the range in which I charge now, and I haven't decided 100%, but I think I'm going to say how much money I've made this year. I get so many people asking if you can do this. I don't know. I haven't figured out a way to do it where it sounds right, I guess. Yeah, I don't really know what to expect there, but I watched a video once where somebody told me that when I was trying to, if I wanted to quit my job and do this, and videos like that were a massive help to me, and so I sort of want to repay that, but it's a bit daunting. Pricing range structures, yeah, given the license and IP fees, that's a good point. Actually, I don't have the licensing bit worked into my video for next week when I talk about pricing, but that's a good point, because it's nuts, man. Like I don't think I'm not supposed to be saying this, but like the Lama video license price is $6,200 US. So that's a lot of cash. It's not as bad at like IMSA and that kind of stuff, and it's a lot less at some of the other WEC races, but that's something that a lot of people don't think about. That is a massive expense. So that's a good point. I'll add that to the list for that video. Do downscale or upscale in post? I do not downscale or upscale in post every single deliverable, including this one. See if I can get it to come up. You'll see everything is shot in 1080. I have not delivered a single thing in 4K for 3 years. The compression algorithms on Instagram and YouTube, well, not YouTube. YouTube likes 4K, but the compression algorithm on Instagram hates 4K. And so I don't even edit in 4K, and I don't send it in 4K. So if my pixels are 1920 tall, a 4K frame is 2160 tall. So technically, like a lot of these, like just this clip right here, you'll see, well, I'm punching in, but at the very beginning, the clip is at 0.89 in terms of scale, because that's basically how many pixels you've got until you start to bring the image in too much. So at 0.89, I'm completely covering the 1920 height. So I don't upscale it like on export or anything like that. Thank you for doing the stream. It's been very helpful. Hope you do more in the future. I do want to do more. My wife's at a concert tonight, so it was just kind of super easy to do. But maybe I'll put something on Instagram about like what. Maybe I'll put it in terms of topics so that video can be helpful, and actually post to the YouTube. I didn't really think about that before, but it's always the NASCAR tracks too. Yeah, it's always the NASCAR tracks. Yeah, it's good stuff. This has been fun. It's an hour and 18 minutes, and my dog really wants to go on a walk. I edited precisely, let's see. Here's my Lama vlog. I had intended on editing this a bit tonight, and yeah, you guys have kept me fairly busy, so I think I'm going to end it, man. I'm going to take my dog on a walk. This has been, as a first stream, sort of figuring this stuff out, and I still don't really understand how it all works. This has been really fun. I have no idea how, but I'll try to post this as a VOD, I think it's called, on the live section of my YouTube page, and so that anybody can go back and look at some of the stuff, because we've talked about some serious stuff in here. If you haven't, subscribe. I am doing the pricing video. It won't be my next video out. There's 2 vlogs coming up from the Lama race day and then Watkins Glen, and then I'll post this pricing sort of breakdown on how I handle all that. But it's coming, I promise. And we're getting into the slow part of the season, and there's a lot more to come. So a lot easier for me to talk about that stuff in the off season when I don't have client work to do. So I will try to, I don't know how, but I'll try to make sure that VOD gets uploaded. Way more people in here than I thought, especially for this being last minute. I will try to schedule this more and sort of post like when I'm going to go live. But yeah, I appreciate you guys, and I don't even know how to end this thing, but I'm gonna try to end it now. And yeah, I appreciate you guys hanging around, and feel free to comment on this video, and I'll try to respond to it in the comments. And yeah, I'll see